Welcome, everyone, to episode 9 of Behind the Mic, where we go behind the mic of all your favorite or soon to be favorite sports personalities in media. And today I have a very, very special guest, and it is Max Wallace. Max, thank you so much for joining in.
Justin, thank you for having me on. I'm super excited to be on this show, and I'm honored that you found me on TikTok, kind of just stumbling upon my page, and here we are.
Yeah, and it's kind of like blackjack, learn when to hold and fold. Or, that's even the completely wrong thing. But
You had me at it's like blackjack. Anytime you can get me in those references, you're hitting. You're
yeah, I
hitting.
mean, all those TikToks, especially the poker ones, I am a fan of. I actually did. I'm a big Texas Hold'em guy. But before
Okay.
before we get into that, um, I want to ask, like, what for those who don't know, what has your journey been in broadcasting so far? What's the story behind Max Wallace?
Sure, sure. Great question to start it off. So I actually started as somebody who thought they were going to go into STEM and robotics and engineering. It
Hmm.
was my sophomore year of high school. I was promoted as the build captain for our robotics team, a robotics team that I would then become captain for my final 2 years of high school. But in that summer of freshman going into sophomore year, I attended this sports broadcasting camp for my New York fellows who are listening in. It was the Bruce Beck Sports Broadcasting Camp, and that's really where I got my, quite frankly, first taste of broadcasting, specifically sports broadcasting. Long story short, fell in love with it, so much so that I went back the next year and the following years, even the ones that were online because of COVID in 2020. I did that for 4 years. And then at the end of my senior year of high school, going into my freshman year at Elon, I was named and asked to do the ESPN Kids Cast, which is on ESPN2. It's that Little League World Series game for my year, which was in 2022. It was in August. It was the Red Sox Orioles game in Williamsport, which was a fantastic experience. So thankful for that because I'm still in contact with Phil Orleans, who at the time was either the president or vice president of Major League Baseball broadcasts for the Sunday night baseball games, and then Joe McCoy, who at the time was the producer director or one of the two for the Sunday night broadcasts. Still in contact with them. Actually, just emailed them earlier today because it was my first day back with the Winston-Salem Dash, which is where I'm at now. A little preview of what I'm going to talk about in a second here. But then I got to Elon, 4 years there, and or 3.5 technically, and I could not have made a better choice. Elon is a fantastic school, not just for broadcasting, which is what I did, but just for building those connections and all that. 3.5 years later, I'm out of there, and I'm starting my second season here in minor league baseball, which has just been a joyride, and I'm so excited for what this summer has.
Yeah, what's your favorite part about doing baseball? You mentioned baseball, and the one thing I really do like about your TikTok is the amount of different types of calls that you're able to do, the different types of stuff like in storylines you're
Yeah,
able to submit. What's
yeah.
been your favorite thing about commentating baseball?
It's so funny you asked this because me and Andrew Murphy, who's the number one broadcaster over at Winston-Salem, I'm their media relations assistant, so I get the middle three innings. We were actually having this conversation today, literally day one of me being there. And we think, and I think, that because you're on the radio, there's no producer in your ear. Maybe at the higher levels, there'll be like sound engineers, and there might be a guy back at studio who, when once you're on break, they're coming into your ear and saying, "Hey, you guys are clear." Same thing for basketball and football, right? But for baseball, you really can make it whatever you want. You're the driver. You're telling the story. It's not so much you got six graphics you know that are going to fly in at some point, two storylines that you and the producer went over in the week or day or 2 days leading up to the game. You are the captain of that ship. You get to tell the listener what is going on, who's on the field, give them a little bit of background, but at the same time, you can take it a million different directions, right? You can be storyline heavy. I was listening to Tom Hamilton yesterday, and he was just breaking down Michael Walker's career. Side note, I didn't even know Michael Walker was still pitching, let alone he was still pitching at the level that he's pitching at. The man's 35 years old. He's averaging 12 wins a year over his last 4 years. That's crazy stuff. But the way he like just weaves in facts, you can be more descriptional. You can paint that picture, fans walking on the concourse, smell of hot dogs and fries in the air. Like really bring the listener like they're right next to you in the broadcast booth. And I think that's really what I love about baseball, but specifically baseball on the radio.
Yeah, and it's so awesome just to be able to be in the driver's seat, like you said, just the ability to go so many different directions. Has there ever been a certain moment that like has stood out to you as one of your favorite moments from doing baseball?
Wow. It's hard to pick one like right off the dome. I mean, there's so many that I can go to, and I'm gonna try and do it in like chronological order. So first and foremost, my first game ever for baseball that I did live was the Red Sox Orioles game, which was on ESPN for a little bit, and then ESPN2 for the whole broadcast. But prior to that, the only time I had called baseball was literally in my basement, hitting mute on the TV. Yeah, I did like the prep work before and like followed the game along, but literally into voice memos. And it's so funny because it's around this time too. It's so funny getting those like 6 years ago today, and it's just a Yoenis Cespedes home run. Nobody's hitting at City Field, and it's just me saying like, "Around the bases comes Cespedes, and up goes the apple," and it's like me in my prepubescent voice. It's so funny to see, but it really just encapsulates that journey that you go on. But my favorite moment, I would say, in all the moments we had last season with the Dash, we had a ton. We had a combined no hitter, three back to back to back home runs to start the ball game. We had three walk offs in about 4 days or something crazy like that. I think all of that chaos all in one, that season of me being there, that is my answer. That was my real first true taste of baseball at the professional level in its rawest form.
Yeah, I fully like it's so cool the first time you're able to get into broadcasting, like that's the best part because sometimes it's crazy, but like just being there and just experiencing it is awesome. I wanted to go back to you mentioning that like you can do anything when it comes to being on a baseball broadcast. For you personally, what do you enjoy more? Do you enjoy when it comes to prepping like looking over the stats or more the storylines going into a game?
Well, stats, and this is a quote that Andrew told me, and then before him, Jack Buck, who's a more known name in this industry. But you can do all the prep in the world. You can have all the prep right here, intangibly, right here. But what really matters is out there, and you're pointing to the baseball field, what's on the diamond. The most important thing that you need to do to the listener or viewer, again, because this is like radio and TV, you have to tell them what's happening. You have to paint the picture of like what's going on, and you have to call the action. The action is what makes the story. All the preparation in the weeks prior could be out the door like that if somebody that is the nine-hole hitter for per se in the World Series has a great game as opposed to Vladdy Guerrero Jr. or something like that. But for me personally, stats are cool, of course. Like anybody who can rattle off like on Mondays when they play during the day, he hits 3 for 14 when he faces a lefty pitcher. Like that's cool. That's a nice little tidbit. That's a nice little thing that to rope in. But something that Jack Corgan, who's the voice of the Rockies, actually told me when I was in Denver this past October now. Geez, time flies. Something he said is always bring those stats into the storylines. For example, that crazy stat I just threw out. He's 3 for 14 on Mondays during the day. He's 3 for 14 on Mondays during the day. So I asked him, do you just see the ball better when it's daylight? And he kind of chuckled with me and he said, yeah, Jack, I think I do. Or, Max, I think I do. Like those kinds of things that, you can bring those stats and the numbers and those analytics guys who are behind the computer 24/7 are going to say, yep, that's right. Nope, that's wrong. Are going to appreciate one half of it. But then the more layman baseball fan over here is going to be like, I love watching Vladdy Guerrero play baseball, and to hear that he's like me. I can see better during the day too. He's not so far from me. I think the tie-in of both of those is what really excites me, and it is so rewarding when your prep pays off in that way. When you can sink your teeth into a really good call like that. And the funniest thing about it, Justin, is those are the calls that you don't even use. Those are the
Yeah.
that don't even get social media. Because like I think we can all relate to this now with March Madness. Like it's those kids right down the road at High Point, Jimmy Roselli and Griffin. I don't know what his last name is. I'm blanking, but it's those two guys, right? It's those two that are bringing that energy, having that firepower, those feel good moments. But then it's those clips that just kind of go to the naked ear that maybe not a lot of people are listening to, but it's like, man, that was the combination of prep and being in the right spot and the game slowing down for me, and it just rolled off the tongue so naturally. Man, that is what feels good.
Yeah, and it also goes back to the power of social media. It just getting stuff out there
Yeah.
gets to where a high point situation where those commentators absolutely outstanding. I loved what they
Yeah.
did in
They're
that game,
fantastic.
and sometimes that gets highlighted, and that's the entire point. Like hyping each other like broadcasters up, like and wanting to get into that. But I want to. You talked about like doing it in your room, talking about he's rounding the bases, but I wanted to say when you first watched baseball, who's like your main like inspirations getting into broadcasting?
I was thinking about this earlier today too, believe it or not. And for me, again, because I started in that freshman year, sophomore year of high school, I actually got to speak with Kevin Burkhardt. This was
Oh,
back when
that's awesome.
yeah, this is back though when he was the voice of the Rays. So this is going back 6 years almost, which is crazy to think like how much he's grown. But watching his journey just progress and progress and progress. Another guy like that is Ian Eagle, a guy who started out as the voice of the Brooklyn Nets, moving his way up through that network. I'm blanking if it's Yes or not. I don't think it is Yes, but whatever.
It's Yes Network, yeah.
It is Yes
Only
Network.
reason I remember is because the one moment I remember from him when he was the broadcaster for the Nets was Brandon Knight missing the layup and them going to
Yeah,
overtime. Like that was like one of the first moments I remember from Ian Eagle
yeah.
doing Nets games. One of
There
the
you
most
go.
hilarious moments.
For sure, for sure. I hear that. But like seeing his progression to now being on CBS, that's awesome. So I would say for sure those two. And then of course, like it was Bruce's camp. So I would always turn on Channel 4. And it's so funny, you're watching football Sundays, all of a sudden the late game's off, it goes to your local news station, and oh, there's Bruce. I know him. So it's really cool to see him on air too. But I would say those three really taught me well and really like geared me up for success.
Yeah, and all those are fantastic names. Being able to meet with someone like Kevin Burkhardt is awesome,
Yeah.
and seeing that now he's doing games with Tom Brady, like
Right.
that's it's insane. The broadcasting community. But I wanted to ask you. You mentioned like cool moments and everything that you've been a part of. Has there been any like wacky or like funny moments that like really stood out to you? And like, what's the backstory behind those?
Oh man, this moment comes up a lot too. It was my first season as the broadcaster for the Danbury Westerners, NECBL affiliates in the New England Collegiate Baseball League out in Danbury, Connecticut, which was about 45 minutes from my house. We had one Jaden Sheffield, and if you know baseball, you know that name Sheffield, Gary Sheffield, the Yankees legend. That was his son. It was me and Toby Zabore on the call, Ithaca graduate, who calls games for St. Mary's College or something, some little college, but he's doing well too. It was me and him on the 4th of July, and that game from head to toe was pure chaos. In very quick summation, there were 13 ejections.
Oh my
Jaden
god!
Jaden Sheffield threw a chair at the North Shore Navigators was the other team, threw a chair at their dugout.
Oh
Nelty
my
Lopez,
wow!
who was the shortstop who also plays for Stetson, or at least he did. He played for the Hatters. He had a little bit of a rough going at shortstop, but also started chatting it up with some of the players. The benches cleared. There were fights on the field. At one point, because it was the 4th of July, there were fireworks going off in the background, and then our camera feed would just catch like the head to head. It was cinema. You know the one meme where it's like the guy going like this.
Yeah,
It's
absolute cinema.
absolute. That was the pinnacle of absolute cinema. That was the craziest, most unhinged, most chaotic moment that I've ever been a part of.
Yeah, and I mean, just in general, like I feel like you can say now that you can say like, oh yeah, I can do like professional boxing. I commentated a boxing match before. That's
Yeah.
it's those moments that are like they're definitely the best. I wanted to ask you since you are baseball centric, what
Yes.
if you could, what is Max Wallace's top three baseball movies of all time? Could you do that for me?
On the spot, I'd say Moneyball for sure. Moneyball is
Yeah.
a great, great movie. I would say Sandlot. I'd throw Sandlot in there, and then Bad News Bears. I would put if I had to order them, I'd do Moneyball, Bad News Bears, Sandlot in that order.
Oh, okay, that's definitely going for me. Moneyball is definitely up there.
Yeah,
I think it still is underrated, even with the amount of love it gets. I really
yeah,
do.
I think so too. I agree.
How people were they turned the analyst meme where he's like looking at the chart into like a boys' night out. This is Max. He
Yeah,
pitches at Notre Dame or something like that. Like it's awesome. But I wanted to get your opinion on food because food has been sort of a major centric on the later half of these episodes. If you had to give me a Mount Rushmore of your favorite meals on the spot, what would that be?
So we're starting off hot. We're starting in Truist Stadium at where the Dash play. It is the walking taco. Now, walking taco is basically like a taco, but it's in a like bag of Fritos, or it has Fritos at the bottom. That thing they make, you top it off with some jalapenos. Last year they did the promotional of Walking Taco Wednesday, so it was half off, and then I also got an additional discount as an employee. Those things, man, I could eat that every single day if it was for free. Those things were absolutely fantastic. Second off, I wish I had my list on me. I do have a list of top 10 foods that I've eaten, actually, believe it or not. I would say in New York, where I'm from, actually, Westchester, there's this bagel store, the Bagel Emporium. I worked there for 2.5 years. Any sandwich that like I was making for my lunch was always fantastic. I'd go like lettuce, chicken cutlet, chipotle mayo, maybe some tomatoes, pickles on like an egg everything bagel. Just hit the spot for lunch. Just absolutely hit the spot. Three, keeping it with a little bit of dessert theme. I'm a big food guy myself, so you got to throw a dessert in there. I'm also a big pumpkin guy, so whenever Thanksgiving rolls around, I'm a very happy camper. I would say the pumpkin square from Crumble Cookie. When I first had that, heaven in my mouth. Absolutely heaven. And then to round out the list, I don't know. There's this one dinner spot me and my family always go to, and I would say the chicken franchise they make there. Big chicken guys, so chicken French.
What's chicken franchise?
It is like chicken in some lemon juice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I assume that just means like you're a big chicken guy. Like I feel like most of the chicken has been pretty good. Are you a big fast food guy? Could you give me a top fast food place on the spot?
Top fast foods. I would definitely say Bojangles one. Since being here in the South rather. So I'll give you top five. Not in any order.
Yeah.
Bojangles for sure. Dave's Hot Chicken has recently been climbing that list.
Ooh,
Absolutely.
okay.
Chipotle is certainly in there. If we would count that as fast food, I would
I
personally
would.
count.
We talked about it with other people on this podcast, and I think we discussed like by definition it is fast food. So
Yeah, I mean you're in and out of there. That's pretty
yeah,
fast. Certainly going to put them in there. Freddy's, which I think is more of a southern thing too. It's like a burger spot.
yeah.
That has been really good. And then just trying to double check and make sure I didn't forget any like big ones. I would say Chick-fil-A because that was always going to be in there, but I wanted to make sure that there wasn't one that, you really like this one, you really like this one, but in the moment you just blank on, but certainly Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, going back to your broadcast, has there ever been been a moment where you were able to get like a TV show reference in or like a movie reference in when it comes to your baseball calls?
I'm sure there was, Justin. I just can't think of it off the top of my head. I mean, so much of it, like this is gonna sound really crazy, but so much of it blends. Like so much of
Yeah,
what we talk about in those like 2.5 minutes off air blends into the time we have on air. So, for example, again, this is today. This happened with Andrew. We were talking about one of the ads that played. It was the same one as last year, and it's this cheesy little Foothills Brewing ad, which is a very Winston-Salem niche kind of thing. And we were like, "Oh, these actors are so bad." And then, because we talk like this all the time, I was like, it's like an episode of Family Guy. It's like one of those cutaways. It's like, "Hey, Lois, remember that one time we got those cheap voice actors to do the Foothills Brewing?" And we just we're like cackling in the booth. The people that are sitting right in front of the window like turn around like, what is so funny? We're in between innings, and then all of a sudden you hear the roll in, the fade in music, and then it's like, all right, game time. But in terms of actually on air, again, I'm sure there's one. I just cannot think of it.
I feel like now because of the podcast, you have to get a Family Guy reference in for one of these baseball games now. I feel like
I definitely do.
I feel like it's definitely an obligation, and then you gotta let me know, like, and then it'll be like the Leo meme where it's like, oh, I see it, it's over
Yeah.
there.
Yep. There is one. There's one. It's in my TikTok actually. I can send it to you.
Okay.
It was like my first little viral kind of hit. It got like 18K, and that was a big deal for me back then. It still would be now. Not to say that it wouldn't be now. It was just like all my videos were averaging like, the 800, 900, and then all of a sudden this one got like 18K. I was like, whoa, this is great. But I did a Minecraft movie reference
Oh, okay.
segment. It was in my one of my first ever lacrosse calls, believe it or not. And it was this time last year because that's when the Minecraft movie was like coming out and stuff. I just put it on there. I was like, yeah, let's throw some references in there, and I got a bunch in there. So
Yeah, and I will say with the Minecraft movie, only thing I've ever saw was the people throwing chickens in the movie theater. That's the only thing I ever saw from the Minecraft movie. I'm like, maybe I shouldn't see this movie because I don't know if my life is going to be in danger because
dude,
it was like a meme revelation. I've never seen anything like it. It was crazy. I mean,
when I saw the Minecraft movie, I saw the Minecraft movie the day it came out. I saw it on a Thursday actually. I was one of two people in the theater, so it was dead quiet. But then in like 18 hours after that, I took a flight to Vegas because we were going out there to do the BEA award show. So it was like I was sitting back, and when we just touched down in Vegas, I was like, I really just went in 24 hours from a movie theater in Burlington watching the Minecraft movie, laughing like a 10-year-old, to now I've got to be here in Vegas all professional, dress up for this conference. Like that is the epitome of me. That is just who I am.
I think that's the epitome of sports broadcasting because I think
Exactly, right?
you can agree that like in broadcasting, we're just super fans that like to
Oh
talk.
yeah.
Like that's basically the entire thing of broadcasting and having a
You
crew around you to like
you
help with that's
cannot
awesome.
take yourself too seriously. And if you do, there's something wrong with you. You just can't take it too seriously.
My first ever broadcast of baseball last season because I was doing it for WRPS and I still do it today.
Yeah.
While this is recording, like we're in the middle of baseball broadcast. The first thing my color commentator DJ Rocco ever asked me was, "Have you ever seen the movie Rat Race?" And up until that point, I was like nervous, I was like tense because that was my first ever IRL broadcast of like any sport. And then I looked at him like, okay, maybe broadcasting isn't that serious. Like he's awesome because he loves just commentating and watching sports. That's what he's told me. I think it's posted on the channel with the interview too. He loves just the sports, but he's not like the serious guy. He's the funny guy that has been working in like being an analyst, but he's been awesome. I mean, I wanted to ask you though, while we're on the topic, if you had to on the fly give me your best hot take that doesn't involve sports, what would it be?
Hot take that doesn't involve sports. Ooh. I
It's
mean,
a good one. Some people are like it's on the fly and they're not prepared. So
yeah. I mean, my go-to would just be that Raising Cane's is overrated. I mean, I had it literally for the first time this year. I'll get to that one in a second. I had literally for the first time this year, and I've always seen the people that are like, you haven't had real chicken till you've had Raising Cane's. You haven't had real fast food till you've had Raising Cane's.
it's just plain chicken
No, yeah,
tenders. It's
it is plain chicken tenders.
it's just like the sauce. The sauce does carry it. I will
Sauce is
say.
great. I'll take Bojangles sauce any day of the week, though. Give me
I will say I've
Boston
never
Dave sauce. Boom.
I'm
We're good.
I've never had Bojangles just because it's not in the area, but it's something that's definitely on my bucket list.
Yeah.
That and then I had some people from the Midwest, Nate Sample, if you know him. He said like Whataburger is pretty good, and I've never had Whataburger because it's like
Yeah.
the Northeast is very limited when it comes to their
It
fast
is.
food options. Oh, it's Italian restaurants and that's it. I mean that's
You're
all
right.
there is in Boston.
You're
So,
right.
but
I would also throw like an honorable mention out to Culver's. Love that place. It's also a more Midwest thing, but it's moving its way out here down south. And then the second one that I thought of in that little moment, I had In and Out one time. I want to preface this. It was the In and Out in Vegas on the Strip. So this is not, most Westerners would tell you, is not real In and Out. I thought it was horrible. I thought it was stale. I thought it was watered down. I did not have a good time. I did not enjoy that
yeah.
In and Out. But
I always just think when it comes to In and Out, like it gets so over like matching the hype that like Californians talk about. You can't match the hype of like what In and Out's giving because then if you have people from like the middle of America or the east of America, they're gonna come over here and say like it's all right. Like we've like seen a bunch of different spots, and I'm more of a fan of like local spots. Like I definitely have tried a lot more local spots recently, and some of the burgers I've had from those places have been top tier.
Definitely big on that.
I need to make my own tier list of like all like the local restaurants in Boston.
Yeah.
It,
Do
it's I you know what I might yeah obviously thank you so much for hopping on, Max. This was an absolute blast. One
Justin, anytime.
Yeah, one last question though, just to bring it back to broadcasting. If you had to give anyone advice who was going to get into broadcasting, what would your one piece of advice be to that person?
Ooh, my first, my the overarching advice I would give is just keep going. There's no there's no reason to stop. There's no reason to sit back and say in 10 years, maybe even 2 years, to look back and say, what if I just gave it one more day? Or what if I just put on the headset one more time? Just keep going. There's always going to be time to pivot if things don't work in 10 years or 20 years or 30 years or never, because there's always there you just got to keep going. You just got to keep going. You can't look at the immediate success or lack thereof and say this is what it's going to be forever. Literally just keep going. And my second, to follow that straight up, is don't wait for opportunity to come. So it's a little bit harder now, and to do this myself again because college graduate, have had those internships, feel like I've had a lot of experience. Um, Never say no to an opportunity, number one. Never think you're above an opportunity, number two, and never think that you can't get better. Number three, because all those three are not true, no matter if you're Max Wallace or no matter if you're Jim Nance, because everybody can get better. Jim Nance obviously is a little bit better and more qualified than I am, and probably would say no to a lot more than me at this stage of the game. But if you're 10 years old to like 45 years old, never say no. Always go for it. And yeah, and again, to get back on that point, it's a little bit harder for me now to just be like, all right, let me just bite the bullet and put it on mute and call it into my phone, see where I can improve. But I'm no stranger to that as well. Those calls where nobody is listening to you, those are where you get better. Those are where you're actually honest with yourself. Because again, social media is great for getting your name out there. It's great for showcasing your skills. It's great for if you're showcasing to an employer, like, hey, this is me in a 30-second sample. It's great for that. But you also know that at some point, it becomes a little bit fake. It becomes a little bit refined. It becomes a little bit of, hey, this is me at my best. I'm hiding when I'm at my, not worst, but I'm hiding when I'm not A plus 100%, 110%, quite frankly. But that is what that is. And I think I just lost the train of thought on it. Oh yeah, my biggest piece of like physical, tangible advice, like things to do, and it's something that I've been trying to do a lot more. It's also a great reset. So if you ever feel like stressed or overwhelmed, just sit back. I like to do it in my car when there's a lot more movement going around. It's hard to do it in an empty room like this. But you sit back, you just watch what's happening, and you just cadence it like you're on air. You just cadence it like you're on the radio. So, for example, you obviously can't see the room that I'm in, and if you're listening on Spotify, you can't see anything. But you know, Justin, I'm sitting here in my living room. I've got two chairs off centered to the left, and my door to my bedroom off to my right. As the fastball comes in just a bit high for a ball 1-0, it's a really good way to just reset yourself. Again, if you're feeling stressed or overwhelmed, but it also just gets you into the habit of touching those senses. What do you see? What do you feel? What do you smell? What's going on? How can I paint that picture to somebody who, like you, is on the other side of the screen, who can't see the room around me? How do I bring you as close to this space as I can? And that's more say like tangible advice that you can like actually physically go out there and practice, and not so much like moral advice of just like never say no, keep on going. You never know when it's going to hit. But I think both of those are equally as important. You need something that you can sink your teeth into to say, I can do this to make myself better, but you also need something that keeps you centered and grounded and on the right track. And I think both of those things can be found in what I just said.
Yeah, and that's all great advice, especially the keep moving forward one. That's one that It actually reminds me of that movie, Meet the Robinsons, Keep Moving Forward. That's
Yeah.
something I always go back to in my head because you aren't going to hit rope like in anything that you truly pursue. You're going to hit rope once, but if
Yeah.
you truly like love that passion,
Yeah.
that's like 90% of it. I'm not gonna lie. When you say like, "What do you smell?" I immediately thought of if you can smell what the Rock is cooking. That's immediately the first thing that popped in my head.
Yeah.
That's me. The first thing that popped in my mind. And I've actually never said this, but like WWE was actually the reason I got into commentary because it was Michael Cole doing commentary back like 10, 15, 20 years ago when I was watching when I was like 5. Like
Yeah.
he was something I
Yeah.
always like looked towards too. And just the ability to, I think now more than ever, like the broadcasting world is so open that I fully agree that like just reaching out to people, like the worst they can say is
Oh
no.
my gosh. Yeah.
Just reaching out to say, hey, here's my stuff.
Yeah.
What do you think? And they'll be like, yeah, we'll get back to you. But like, it's better than saying like, oh my God, hired on the spot, or something like that.
Yeah.
You never know.
It's really crazy because like you wouldn't think of it like this, and I didn't think of it like this until about a year ago. But like people who are starting a business, you have a product, people have a problem, you are trying to solve that problem for them. You as a broadcaster, in a way, you're doing the same thing. You just are the business, right? And the old adage in business is the more no's you get, in turn, the more yeses you'll get. Because if you're getting more no's, it means you're asking more people. And like you just said, if you're asking more people, like, hey, take a look at my stuff. What do you think? Or, hey, I see you guys are a D2, D3 school that have a baseball team. Can I sit in the press box and call? The more times you reach out like that, the better chances you are of getting a yes or at least a response.
Yeah. And luckily enough, if you get those responses, that's the whole entire thing of saying like, oh, now it's go time. Like that's what you've been training for with all the sports that you've done up into that point to say, oh, perfect. And then
Yeah.
the moment you're like, yeah, do you have any like film? And I'm like, I have an entire resume. Here you go.
Yep.
Just, it's awesome. But
One of my best friends, he has a flag right on his wall. I think it's his grandpa who said it, but someone probably before him as well. His name's Scott. He actually, funny enough, when I graduated, he moved into the room that I left at Elon.
that's awesome.
But his flag says, "Success is when preparation and opportunity meet." It's not like, you just got like those guys that like, oh, you just got lucky. You just had one. No, it's when preparation and timing and opportunity and you presenting and showing up all just collide in this one perfect storm. And when it happens, you don't even it's crazy because you don't even realize it. You don't even realize how much you do that you kind of just take for granted. Like you kind of just got to sit there and be like, wow, I call sports for a living. And you just kind of be like, it's awesome, but at the same time it's very humbling and it's like it could be gone like that. And you just got to enjoy every single moment of it.
Just gotta enjoy the ride. Of course, Max, thank you so much for hopping on. This was a lot of fun. Just
Dude,
especially hearing it from like someone who's purely in baseball.
yeah.
It's so interesting. But if you want to plug any of your socials or any stuff you have coming up, now's the perfect time.
Yeah, I mean, like, Max Mic'd Up is the best place to find me, specifically on TikTok, but Instagram too, wherever. But y'all know my name, Max Wallace. Just do whatever you want to do, man. Do whatever you want to do. But Justin, I really enjoyed this, man. So anytime you want to co-host or need another guest or anything like that, you know where to find me.
Listen, if we're discussing baseball movies, you're gonna be the first guy I ask.
That
You,
sounds good to me.
you're the most legal the most qualified expert in when it comes to all that. So that's awesome. But thank you guys so much for tuning in to episode 9 of Behind the Mic here with Max Wallace. We will see you guys for next week for another episode of Behind the Mic.